Hey everyone, how are you doing? Thank you so much for stopping by my channel. I have a reading for you guys that kind of came through. It's an energy reading for the collective, so please do take what resonates, leave the rest behind. As I always say, ground yourself, use your discernment. If this reading aligns with your current mindset, the current level of your consciousness, and it aligns with you, then that's fine. If it doesn't, then you know what, it's still fine, it's okay, right? But what this reading is about, now as you can see, I've already got like 4 cards up already. I kind of got compelled to grab the deck because it's in relation to, well, these past couple of readings that I've been doing has been based on this whole simulation that we're in to do with, like, you know, what is real and what isn't. And in particular, my sort of like focus at the moment, I've kind of like been drawn towards it in a sense of like sort of putting it out there, is to do with the NPCs. Now, it's common knowledge now. It's been going on for quite a long time since we know about what the NPCs are and how they are just placeholders and anchors of the system, supporters of the system, designed to keep us divided within ourselves, our minds, and also with each other. They are the narrative pushers. They're the ones who protect the controllers because they were created by them, basically. They're the beings that don't have a soul. They don't have a particular way of using discernment or critical thinking. Whatever the narrative is that the government puts out, they obey. And then they turn around and influence others to do the same thing. This is why, for those that know, for those of us who are awake and aware of what's going on, it's a thing of like, well, we can see why we are so, we're facing a very big challenge on how to kind of deal with the situation. How do we sort of like address this? Everyone's talking about it, but which is great and fine. But the next question is, what do we do about it? How do we kind of remove ourselves from their presence? They are everywhere, seriously everywhere. But what I was drawn to, particularly with this particular reading, was a scenario of what that would look like if we were in a position of banding together, unifying ourselves, forget about the differences and the polarities and all that, because we know that is down to the programming that we have all been, affected by. But if we've really found our inner core, our center, our groundedness, and really banded together and said, enough is enough now, what would that look like? Because decisions will have to be made in order to, are you going to stay with them and create that timeline that they're all talking about, the fear-based timeline, or going away on your own way and creating the beautiful, radiant, abundant reality that you know that we all deserve? Okay, we've suffered far too long on this planet for so long, and it's now time for this change. And time is running out now. The window is literally closing, and decisions have to be made. Now, by me saying this, please don't sort of like settle into the fear factor or get anxious about this. If you do feel anxious, ground yourself. Take a moment, shield yourself. Okay. So with that being said, let me get stuck into this reading. So I've got 4 cards up already. I stopped there at number 4 because I wanted to put the camera on so that I can continue the reading with you guys. I don't know what the next card is going to be, and I do not know what the card underneath is. And then the next stick that I've got will be about what the NPCs will be like, those who choose to stay asleep, and those who are just not bothered. They just don't care. All right. So let's get stuck in. So first of all, we've got the King of Swords. This deck is only dealing with those who are ready, the awakened ones, the ones who knows what time it is, and you know they're going to be making they've already made their choice, okay, and they are moving away from certain people, certain groups, banding together, finding other like-minded souls, because we are out there, and formulating some kind of alliance to become more unified and much stronger and harder to take down. So we have got the King of Swords in the upright position, okay? I hope you can see this, guys. Very much empowered, very much using discernment, very protected, stands in his or her energy, the energy, but standing in his inner truth. He's guided from above and not what's going on around him. He knows what decisions to make. Now, usually the King of Swords is somebody who, will appear to be very cold, very calculating, very distant, doesn't really say much. He's very mindful of his words because he knows that the words create the reality. But this is somebody who isn't going to be swayed by mindfuckery. You can't come and, use reverse psychology on this person. So if this is you and you align with this energy, then, thank goodness. And I'm really glad that you are able to be in this King of Swords energy. Now, I did say that this is a very cold energy, but we do have the sun in the upright position right next to him. And this, to me, not only obviously radiates warmth, and there is a beautiful balance between the King and Queen, and you said the Queen of Swords, the Sun card, but this is also about the success, the new beginnings. This is also about being in nature. This is also about being sort of like exposing yourself to the sun. So this could be you, being outside, doing sun gazing, getting those codes coming down. That's going to be healing your DNA and helping you with just staying more energized. Okay, so if you guys have been feeling a bit run down, then this is another way of getting some really great exercise, being out in the great outdoors. I'm also seeing a bit of a balance here as well when it comes to, because this King of Swords is, quite sort of technical looking. I hope you guys can see. Hold on, bear with me one sec. Yeah, that's better. So I just had to put the light on behind me, so it's much more better. So we've got a situation where, it's a little bit of a technical person, so you could be into like technology and everything like that. You're not feeding into or getting drawn into the fear factor. You know already, you know, all right, you just know. But you also know that you need balance. You work with technology, okay? So we're talking about like the, AI and stuff like that. Let's just call it for what it is, right? But there's a balance here between you sort of like doing, your work, but also knowing that you want to spend time outdoors. So there's a little bit of a it's not a little bit, there is co-creation here, okay? Yes, you like working with technology, but no, you do not want to be transhumanized with it. There's a big bloody difference. So all of the talk that they're doing is just in a way to keep the program going, to keep the fear going, so that eventually people will not buckle under and think, oh my God, like this is how it's going to be. No, it isn't going to be like that unless you want it to be that way. You have a mind of your own. You have the power to say no. But it's just that these people who have lost all of their power doesn't remember their sovereignty. They don't know how to say no. And then we've got the Judgment card. This is that spiritual awakening. This is the call to higher power. And this is you, again, for those of you that can align with this spread, to use your better judgment. I'm not saying to be judgmental and anything like that, but you are an observer and you're saying what you're seeing. So in a sense, it is a little bit like you're making some form of judgment, because you have to kind of judge something in order to determine or whether or not it's going to be right for you or not. And then we've got the Four of Discs or the Four of Pentacles, but it's in the reverse. So this to me represents somebody who is not going to be held back. You're not going to be constrained by the system anymore. The system is going to be buckling under people like you. It cannot afford to have anybody leave the system entirely, because who is it going to govern? Who is it going to be controlling? All right, and this is what the controllers can't afford to have, and this is why the creation of the NPCs were, in a sense, a perfect way of keeping the minds interlocked into confusion and chaos and inner conflict within themselves and towards each other. But once you take away your energy and your focus and your attention from them, what's going to happen? They'll end up like, you know, you might see like a sharp fall in people following so-called influencers. Or if you look on the comments, you might just be skimming past and stuff, not really observing but not absorbing. You might start to see the way how people are commenting about them and just really cursing them out now, because it's like everybody's getting on now, catching on. All right. So we're going to continue with the next card. Okay. And this is going to be the last card. And what it is the Hanged Man in the reverse. No more stagnation. You are not staying stuck for nobody. This King of Swords is too much of a warrior, a spiritual warrior. He's spiritually smart, not spiritually stupid. He is making his own choices, and whether the system likes it or not, he's already gone. And then the card underneath the bottom of the deck is Nine of Discs. You're sovereign. You are able to make your own choices. All right? And this is what they can't have. They can't have the amount of people that are now rising up and taking a stand and using their own better judgment and deciding to become more self-sustainable. One thing I've noticed, I don't know if you've noticed as well, guys, is you notice that they don't really talk about NPCs on the news, or government's really talking about them, because they already know. And the thing is, they've been exposed now. So whatever they're going to say about NPCs and all that, they're talking about cloning and stuff, but you don't really hear them talking about the NPCs. All right? So anyway, with that being said, let's get into the side of the ones who are going to be, you know, the NPCs and stuff. So before, I just took this deck out of the pack, and as I split it, we've got the Two of Cups up right, but we've got the World card here. So there is going to be some kind of ending with a connection. All right. I'm going to shuffle them because, you know, as I said, you know, I just took them out the deck, and I always like to shuffle the cards in front of you. So this is going to be about what is going to be happening with those who are going to be, you know, staying in the system, which is it's up to them, and anybody else that makes that decision and that choice, that's up to them too. Whether this is, you know, friends or family, it's going to be down to an individual choice. Just because your best friend, you know, wants to go that way, it doesn't mean that you have to follow because of what your best friend said. This is down to, you know, the soul. I need to do it. All right, hold on. It's just... Split the deck again. All right. Okay. Here we go. So this is now going to be the side now to do with the other side. Bearing in mind, guys, anything can happen. This doesn't indicate that this is going to be what it is, because this may be, you know, it may not even happen. All right. So always bear that in mind. The future is not set, but we're just looking at the strongest possible timeline of what could be. Right. So this is them. So we have, bloody hell. Yeah. The beast system, boy. So this is what I'm talking about already. That's why I said the King of Swords isn't going to be into any kind of, you know, mind manipulation. he's not going to be allowing any reverse psychology bullshit anymore, because he's gone through enough in order to start putting the dots together, making the connections. Whether he's been online researching, following the dots, following the money, and seeing that it always ends up being in the cabal's hands. Okay? So for the NPCs that are embedded in the programming, this is them. Okay? All right, so let's go on with the next card then. What death card? So already, two major arcanas, both in the right position for them, and I see this as, that's where it's going to be. It's just going to be like an end. There's going to be a massive transformation, and what I'm seeing here is a death and a rebirth that's going to be taking place. The way how this the face of this, can you see, guys? The way how this his face is set, he hasn't got time for no Mickey Mouse bullshit. He hasn't got the time for it. And anything that this person or this organization or this corporation or this government department, whatever tactics they're going to have, it doesn't, like, they could try it. This is a spiritual warrior. This one is willing to die for his cause or her cause, because it's better than living like this in the slave system. So they've got the death card. All right. Because as I said, it's like permanent end. That's it. We have got the 10 of Pentacles in the reverse. No abundance, restrictions. You can't do this, you can't do that. You have to seek permission to do anything. If you want to build something on your property, you gotta seek permission. If you want to go somewhere, you got to seek permission. You got to tell the system, oh well, is it okay if I leave out for, I need to go on holiday for a bit? Yeah, you can go, but you can only go for like no more than 30 days. Who the fuck are they to say that? Do you see what I'm saying? All right. So there is going to be restriction in wealth, abundance, success, nothing. This is also to do with coming out from, I know, lots of us have issues with family members and stuff like this. And some of you would have had to make the decision of walking away and just being on your own because they just don't understand. They're not listening to you, in a sense of not you trying to force it on anybody, but to try to make them see an alternative way, helping them to open their eyes. But there's only so much that you can do before you either make yourself ill, bring on some kind of dis-ease, or you just end up really losing your shit with them and then just, falling out with them. So it's better to kind of like move away in peace rather than just moving away in anger. Okay. And then the next card that I've got for them is the Hierophant in the reverse. This is corrupt, a very disgusting, corrupt system. There's no, it's all very demonic, it's all very Luciferian here. They are aligning with a very, it's not really looking good. Look at what you guys have up here in comparison to what the NPCs have. This is why there's just so many of them, because they really want to keep us trapped in the system. The next card that we've got is the Six of Swords in the reverse. Where are they going? Seriously, where are they going? You've got the Devil card here that they're chained to the system. They ain't going nowhere. They're fucked, basically. Where are they going? Even if they wanted to try to go anywhere, the system will always try and bring them back. So they will be mentally conflicted, causing all kinds of dramas, going online, creating all these fear tactic videos, so that the content is going to be drawing in people that are going to be triggering them, and then everybody's going to get caught up in that, quantum entanglement mess. And then the card underneath the bottom of the deck is the Nine of Pentacles in the reverse, which is what they should be, because it's not like to say that they don't have the choices. They can break away if they want to, But this is what's on the, like, at stake here. Their sovereignty is at stake. Nobody's better than the next person. I'm not saying that at all. But they do have a choice. You've already made your choice. The ones who can align with this energy up here, you've made your choice already. But it's not like to say that they can't. They can have this if they want to. If they continue to acquiesce, then their life is going to be a mess. But if you decline it and you say, no, fuck this, I'm off, then you know that you're going to be heading in the right direction. It can no longer constrain you. It can no longer keep you stagnant. All right? So this is kind of like what the scenario is going to kind of, I say could, but the way how things are going, you got a choice. And it's a very important choice because your soul depends on it. You're not into selling your soul for nobody, but these will do anything, even for free. All right? So let's just close out this reading with the Inner Temple Oracle. Just going to throw some cards down. All right, so what's for the collective right now? What do we need to see? The darkest night. Walking your own path, walking away. Moving towards that portal that's going to put you in a different scenario altogether. Jumping timelines, you name it, everything. And most of you would be in the energy of facing your fears in a powerful way and going through the darkest night of the soul. The dark night of the soul. It's only because it said the darkest night. All right? So that's there. I'll just chuck that there. The next card that we have got, and you're not even looking back. You're moving towards abundance. You're moving towards success. As I said, that you've got that light and dark energy there. This is you. This is all about what you want for yourself. You want to be able to be a wonderful provider for your family, for your community, to build a community that is all, wonderful to be in. This isn't about the woo-woo stuff and all the love and light, and all that psyop stuff. Because you are powerful enough to face your darkness and deal with it and lay it to rest, transmute it so that you'll be able to know, how to balance the dark and light and still be on the right path of source. The next card that I've got, just watch me. You're calling my bluff, just watch me move on and walk away. Shining my light. This is not being egotistical, by the way, because you know that you've got talent, you know that you can make it work for yourself. Do your thing. I'm hearing that song by, I don't like, I don't really like the music industry and stuff anymore after everything that we've heard about it. But I'm hearing that song by a particular person called Shine Bright Like a Diamond. Not the false light shit, but the real one, the life force. Radiant, energized, restored, because you're getting the sun's rays coming to give you back your life, your power. Okay? Not leaving you chained to a bloody cinder block with this guy. And then the last card that we've got, the tall pop. Okay, I've got. Okay, all right, I'm going to leave that there. We've got the tall poppy. Now, with this particular card, which I'm glad it did come out, this card speaks about doing the things that you want to do that's going to make you happy and kind of like rising up out of the many who are still laying low. Again, this is not about anybody being better than anybody else, because I'm not somebody that's into competition or anything like that. But we all have the right to be successful. We all have something to bring to the table. And there are those who are bold enough and confident enough, to kind of, let me put something out there and let me see what's going to happen. All right? So this is kind of like what I'm getting for those of you who would be in this energy of abundance and success. The next card that I've got is Surrender, Chamber of Surrender, and we've got the Ceremony of Life. So these two cards actually wanted to come out and say something. And I do feel that you have gone through this moment of surrender by letting go. And this is stepping into this lovely energy, the ceremony of life. So maybe some of you are dancers, or, you know, you've been dancing a lot or moving your body around, which is going to be bringing in this really good, you know, energy. Again, I'm not speaking at like, I don't want it to be a thing of like where, you know, you're just sort of like in this happy camper, like happy-go-lucky, which, I mean, yes, you have a right to be happy, but you also need to be aware of what's going on. Because remember, when you're going to start being in this energy, you're not out of the woods yet. It's still going to be coming to chase you, to try and get you back in, to make all these little threats. The NPCs like are going to be like coming off of all of their fear tactics to try to influence people back into being asleep and afraid. So this is going to be a daily practice of you shielding yourself. You're not out of the woods yet, as I said, but it doesn't mean that you don't have to try. You've got to try your hardest. And then the card underneath the bottom of the deck we have got is the in-between. So I really do feel that this is where we're at right now. We're in that threshold stage of where we're seeing a lot more. We're seeing things like there's no tomorrow. And we have a choice to make. There is still time, but it's not really much time. It really, really doesn't feel like there's much time left. I'm not the only one that is sensing that. We all can feel it. For those that have those sensitive energies enough to know something is around the corner. And even as I'm speaking, my heart is sort of like feeling as if it's expanding, because it's kind of like, you know, I'm feeling it. I'm tapping in. But this is where we're at right now. That's why I said you're not out of the woods yet. You still have work to do. You still have shielding to do. You still have to stay in your power. You're still having to say no and mean it. So this is what I've got for you guys. Take what resonates, as I said, leave the rest. Like, share, subscribe to the channel. And even like in your, you know, when you're going out and about, if you feel drawn to us, you know, or strike up a conversation with some people, or even some friends that you know, and kind of like put it to them like in a way of like, you know, about NPCs and this, that, and the other. Like, what do we do about it? What would you do if, you know, in order to walk away? All right. And start seeing, you know, major shifts in your life. So thanks for watching. Please do take care of yourselves, and I will see you guys in the next reading. Take care.